Your stuff is gonna
Okay. What's up, guys? Dakota from CGL Fishing here. First time going live. I'm hoping this is working. If anybody hops on here, drop something in the chat so I know that it's working. And I'm just going to be tying rigs. Oh, sweet. Cool. So it is working. All right. So I'm just going to be tying rigs today. I actually have a video coming up on how to do this. So I'm not doing like a tutorial. This is just something to kind of keep my hands busy. And you guys chat with me. Hey, Kelly. I'm glad you got a notification finally. So I'm going to, I was just saying I'm going to be tying rigs just as something to do with my hands while we chat. And if anybody's got any questions or wants to talk about, you know, fishing or anything, let me know. Austin, when are we going to fish Wiley for big blues? Working on it, dude. Working on it. If you got a good tip, let me know. I've got the boat just about ready to do some fishing for blues, but I haven't quite got there yet, and I need someone to help me out. Show me how to do it. I've been fishing from the bank, and it's not bad, but this time of year it's really tough. So hopefully I can get the boat out there and actually catch some stuff. That's my wife bowing out. She helped me get this thing set up. Ooh, I meant it. Marker. Here we go. For right now, I'm tying all these and sticking them in bags. I'm gonna have a way to take care of them. Austin, the gizzard shad from Jamie K's. I haven't seen. I haven't been to Jamie K's yet. Are they are they pretty fresh? I mean, I know just about no one has live. Everything's frozen, but I've heard a lot about Jamie K's. I've just never been there. Box is not staying open. But I will say, I know gizzard shad is the best bait. You really can't beat it. That's what I've used most of the time. Let's see, we're going to tie some 150-pound rigs. We're back. Austin, they have live shad? Really? So they sell them live out of a tank? I have never seen that before. Every time I catch them, they die so fast. Rebecca, my favorite fish to catch right now, I'd probably have to say catfish, just because it's a good fight. They're fun to catch, and I like the style of fishing that you usually use when you're going after catfish. But my favorite fish overall is called a scarlet batis, Dario Dario. All right, I'm gonna have to go check Jamie K's out apparently because I have never heard of that. I didn't even know. I didn't even know you could get live shad. Kelly, have I ever used real fish as bait? All the time, actually. That's my favorite bait is using real fish. Uh, I use it mainly cut, but live is good too, especially if you're going after big fish. Live bait's the way to go. Now that I know I can get live shad, I'm gonna have to find Jamie K's and get down there and get some. How big are the shad usually, Austin? Kelly, I'm dipping them in water because when you cinch the knot, which, let's see if I can show this. When you cinch the knot, if you don't dip it in water to wet it, which normally I just stick it in my mouth, but I didn't think that would look too good on camera. Um, but when you cinch it down, if you don't wet it, you can actually burn the line and make it weak. So you wet it whenever you cinch your knots. RIP fishies. Most of the time, when I'm using live fish as bait, it's sometimes it is shad if I can get shad. Shad can be a little difficult to get, but if I'm using white perch, which is what I normally use, it's really they're kind of a fish that's not supposed to be here anyway, so I don't feel too bad about using them. So you switched to white perch recently. They work better in Wiley multiplies all the way up jumbo, which usually. Oh my gosh, he's selling live 10 to 16-inch shad. I mean, I'm catching them that big, but holy cow! I've not used one live that big because I can't get them to stick on the hook. But that's one of the things that when I get out on the boat and I get my rod holder set up, I 100% wanted to do is try a live shad. Figured if I didn't have to cast it, it might go better. That turned out wonky. Try that one again. I figure if I did it from a boat, I don't have to cast it, and maybe it would actually stick. Because the problem is every time I try to use live shad, they go flying off the hook. Yeah, Kelly, I found that out watching tutorials on how to tie these myself because they're it's expensive to buy these, um, and it's not the best for my area because they most of the time if you buy them they're wire, and there's nothing wrong with wire per se, but I think these are a little bit better for this area. Wire is really if you're catching toothy fish. You know, I'm actually taking the boat out tomorrow. I might need to go to Jamie K's and get some live shad. It's going down to the dam, and I bet I could wear them out with some shad at the dam. I cut this too short now. I can't get the knot. I didn't want to have to start all the way over. Yeah, I have to start this one over. The green line, I just bought it because it's what was available. I don't think it makes a big difference. I don't want a bright colored line because I don't want the fish to see it. Green is a good one because it kind of blends in with the greenish water. I didn't when I bought this they didn't have any clear line because I probably would have just got clear line. But braid you can't get clear, so I always get that in. Try to get it in a natural color. The last time I bought it, I got it sea blue or something like that. I'm gonna figure out a better way to do that because it's getting my hands too wet and I can't I can't get a good grip. Austin, do you fish Norman at all? I've been I'm right down Norman all the time. I've been wanting to try it and I haven't got a chance to yet. But I've heard it's pretty good. Some people say it's better than Wiley, and then I see other people saying it's more difficult. So yeah, Kelly. Some people say the line color matters a lot. I've never found it's a huge deal. My my leaders are I always go for a natural color, kind of like this green or uh, clear or blue. But I've got yellow braid on one of my poles, and it was great line. Talbot, how's it going, man? I hadn't talked to you in a while, dude. Appreciate you being on here. Rebecca, I actually have a towel here. I might grab it, try that. Never been to Norman, but you've been to Watery and you're dying to go. Dude, Fishing Creek, yes. I want to go to Fishing Creek so bad. I've heard Fishing Creek's got good striper. I've also heard Fishing Creek has good buffalo. I got a towel. It's probably a dirty old towel, but it'll work. I've heard Fishing Creek has really good buffalo. Um, Definitely want to go try Fishing Creek. Kelly, a leader is that's basically what we're making right now. This is some people call it a rig. It's also called a leader. Really, what I'm tying now is the leader part of it. So basically, when you have your fishing line, you've got your main line, which is what's directly attached to you to your pole or your reel, and then you have your rig or your leader, which is tied to that line. And typically, so like I use braid as my main line because it's so strong and it has no memory. Your leader is typically made out of mono, which is this what this is monofilament, and it's a little bit better as a main line because it's clear. So this is my first time streaming live, so I have a YouTube channel, but I did my hooks, but I haven't been live yet. Oh, right here. Austin, I'm in the Lake Wiley Catfish group, and I admin the Lake Wiley fishing group. I didn't know there was a separate group just for bank fishing. I'm gonna have to check that out because that's what I do most of the time is I have to bank fish. Brap, you're here too. Hey, how's it going? I appreciate you being on here. I'm normally bank fishing actually mainly just because I've got well, I didn't have a boat till recently, but also my son has been with me, and I'm gonna take him in the boat soon. But I wasn't ready to do that until I was sure that I knew what I was doing in the boat. Because if I'm gonna put him in the boat with me, it's got to be safe. CK, how's it going? Oh, CK is Caleb. Okay, how's it going, Caleb? Appreciate you being here. Austin, I'm going fishing tomorrow. Uh, Possibly going with a buddy of mine, and then after that, I'm not sure. I was thinking about taking the little one down to the pier, but it's been so cold. The little one has caught one, Kelly. He caught one in the first fish he caught was in Charleston, and I was catching pinfish, which is just a small type of bait fish, basically. That's the only thing we were catching, and so I went ahead and had him reel one in, and he enjoyed that a lot. He's a little addicted now. Anytime he gets a chance, he wants to reel them all in. So Talbot, no, I'm not. No noodling. That's not happening. I've seen people do it. Not a chance that you'll ever catch me doing that. Kyla, how's it going? Uh, I'm typically fishing for catfish. I also fish for bass on occasion. Any chance that I can get, I will go saltwater fishing. I don't get to go very often, unfortunately, being landlocked, but it is my favorite. It's really my passion. So definitely plan on trying to do more saltwater fishing this year. I've got a really cool trip planned actually, where I'm going to go to, and I can't remember the name of the island, so sorry in advance, but it's in the Outer Banks, and the only way to get there is by taking um, what do they call those boats? Ferry boat. I'm gonna take a ferry boat to get there, and then you camp there. There's no electricity. You're not going to get a hotel room out there, nothing like that. And you have to bring all your own water, food, all that. I'm going to bring water because it's salty. So I can't scavenge that. But I'm going to try to catch all my own food for the whole trip. See how that goes. Austin, I want to catch a smallmouth. I've never caught one. Where do you catch those around here? The only place that I was aware that you could really catch smallmouth was what's the name of it? The French Broad River, which isn't that far, but it's still it's a little bit of a drive. I love the different reactions here. Kelly's like, "That sounds like a fun trip, isn't it?" Rebecca's like, "Have fun with that." You actually camp directly on the beach. In fact, it's so remote that when you take the ferry out there, they tell you don't go unless you have a four-wheel drive. And they actually tell you should air down your tires and all that because it is all soft sand. And again, you're the only one out there. There's no, I mean, you can call someone to rescue. It's not like, you know, it's not like you're going all the way like Africa or something, but it's still not somewhere you can get people quick. Lockhart has smallmouth, a body of water. I wasn't aware. I thought, well, I mean, I guess that I should have known that they have smallmouth in Georgia, but I thought smallmouth were more of a mountain fish. I didn't think that they really came this far inland because of the warmer weather or warmer water. I also really like fishing for gar. They're just really hard to catch, and I get aggravated with them. But probably my most fun trip this year was going to um, going to the Catawba River and wading through the water to catch fish. We literally crossed the whole river and fished the opposite bank and followed this little creek up, and it was absolutely gorgeous. The water was nice. We caught some fish. Just a really fun style of fishing. I'm also thinking I'm going to try to do a trout tournament this year, but we'll see about that. The river dead in the middle of Lockhart. Catch 6, 7 to 8 of them. That's a good day. I'm definitely gonna have to go check that out. I'm not uh I'm not familiar with Lockhart, but I'm gonna have to go check that out. By the time I'm done with this, I'm gonna have way more rigs than I know what to do with. But here in a minute, I'm gonna switch to tying some bait rigs because those are the ones that I mess up a lot. Rebecca should go. That'd be fun to watch Rebecca like trying to survive with no technology camping. That would be funny. I'd bring some food for her since she doesn't eat fish. Austin, I've been down to Lake Wiley Dam a few times. That's where I'm going tomorrow. I'm hit or miss with the Lake Wiley Dam. I don't I don't have much luck there. I even wanted to catch gar and I can't even catch gar there. Every time I go, I'll catch, one or two catfish maybe, but that's it. I can't seem to hook into anything too crazy. I don't know. Hopefully tomorrow. I saw the dude catch. I was so mad. I was down there. I threw everything I could think of in the water trying to catch fish, and this dude was standing throwing just a regular spoon, which I've never really fished with a spoon. He's throwing a spoon, and he caught. First, he caught a striper, which is a fish that I've been trying to catch striper. I cannot get on any striper. But then he turned around and he caught back to back two probably 15-pound blues um, on a spoon. I couldn't believe it. It was pretty cool. So I'm really hoping to get some of that action tomorrow. I don't have the boat set up perfect yet, but I've at least got room to do some stuff. Kelly, I would love to see that. It would be pretty funny. Rebecca trying to survive the wilderness would be funny. The emotes, I don't know anything about emotes on YouTube. I'm gonna try to learn this YouTube streaming thing a little bit, but right now I really don't have a clue about it. So, oh, when did I get my first fish? Okay, so you got to clarify that question. When did I get my first pet fish, or when did I get my first caught it on a rod and reel fish? Because that's two very different questions. I guess I could answer both of those actually. I don't remember my first fish. I've been fishing since I was a kid. I can remember some of my first fish. I can remember the first fish of a certain species, but I don't remember my first fish. So I guess I'll go with first fish of a certain species. So the first and so far the only red drum I've ever caught. I was fishing with my grandfather, and we were fishing one of his friend's docks. Hadn't been catching anything all day, and I was probably, man, I couldn't have been maybe 10, 12 at the time, something like that. And I kind of, I've always had ADD a little bit, and I may or may not have been a little bit too chatty. And I distinctly remember him looking at me and saying, "Will you please just shut up for 5 minutes?" And so I did. I shut up for 5 minutes. I dropped my line directly under the pier in about 3 foot of water. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, I got a bite and my line started just ripping out of the reel. It was going flying out. I mean, this fish was just taking line. I had forgotten to set the line. So I'd forgotten it was an old push button reel, which when you cast those, you have to turn the reel one turn to lock it. And I'd forgot to do that. So as soon as the fish started running, I turned the reel to lock it, and the fish pulled so hard that it actually broke the reel. Um, so I ended up reeling it in while it's trying to hold the reel onto the pole. It was it was funny, and it was I think it was 17 inches, something like that. So not real big, but it was a cool memory. First one I ever caught. As far as first that I have ever, and I wrote the wrong number on all these. Oops. Sorry, we can fix it. As far as the first that I have ever um, had as a pet, I we had a fish tank as kids, and we actually had a fish tank twice. I really wanted to have fish. I've always been interested in fish, whether it was looking at them through glass or catching them. Catching them was always fun, and I always felt I don't know. I always felt a certain peace looking at a fish tank, and so we had fish, and they all died within a week. It was horrible. Every single fish died, and so I remember my parents getting rid of the tank, and I got up one morning. I was like, "Where'd the tank go?" And they said that the fish exploded overnight, and it was time to get rid of it. So that was it for the tank. So then we, I convinced my parents to get another fish tank, and I don't remember if this was the one that I picked my first fish or not. But I remember it was a red, what do they call them? Red tail shark. It wasn't actually a shark. It's a minnow, but they call it a shark because it kind of has sharky looking fins. And I remember looking in the tank, and there was one. You could see one of them just kind of hanging out. And when they put the net in the tank and they bumped the what you call it, the little decoration in there. Behind that decoration was probably like 20 of these little fish. And I remember asking them, "Is it gonna hide all the time?" And they said, "Oh no, 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 they're not gonna hide all the time." Well, we got it, and it hid all the time. We also found out that it was a fish that would beat up all of our other fish, and but they all died too. So kind of a bad ending to that story. They didn't last very long. So we didn't have fish again for years. And when I was a teenager, I convinced my parents that I had learned enough about how to keep them awake or alive, and I got fish again. And I've actually had fish since then. That was when I was maybe 15. So I've had fish since then pretty much all the time. I absolutely love having pet fish. So that was a really long version, so sorry about that. I do, I hate to say I hunt. I I tried deer hunting. I wasn't a big fan of it, other than I liked I liked what they called man drives. I enjoyed those, but the rest of it I just was way too bored. I do try to squirrel hunt, but I'm having a hard time finding time for it. So mainly just fishing. Fishing Michigan, how's it going, man? Thanks for hopping on here. How you doing? We're just kind of hanging out, chatting, and tying rigs. Like I'm gonna have way more rigs than I know what to do with after this, but but it's all right. The problem is what I normally do is I normally go fishing and break a rig, and then I don't have one. And so I have to sit on the pier and do all this that I'm doing now. I have to do it on a pier while I'm kind of got my nerves up trying to catch fish instead of focusing on it like this. And then you gotta tie it on and all that good stuff. So, but my next video coming out on this Wednesday is a tutorial on how you can do this yourself. So it's nothing special, but I actually go into what parts to use, how to tie it, what not I use. I talk about pretty much everything there is about these rigs. Yeah, Rebecca, the exploded fish. I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with those fish that they would do that, but that's what I was told is they exploded. This is a 4 ounce. This is also gonna be nice. I'm not. I'm surprised I'm gonna have this because I always just kind of have to make it up as I go. I don't ever have rigs just ready. It's gonna be weird. Have you ever had a fish hook in you? Kelly, more times than I can count. I have not had one as bad as some of the ones I've seen. Um, like it's not, I've not had one that I had to go to the hospital for or anything like that, but I've been stabbed by more hooks than I can count, and yeah, it's just part of it when you do this. I've had a couple pretty good ones. Fish in Michigan. Saw the new video where I almost sank the boat. Been there, done that. Man, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was I got to the ramp. I was nervous because it was the first time I've ever launched a boat at a ramp. So, I've seen it done obviously. I've put the boat in the water, but I'd never launched at a ramp. Last time we went, Rebecca actually had to help me carry the boat to the water. So I get there and I get everything ready, get in the get the boat in the water, and I couldn't get everything right. The the Forerunner is not the longest vehicle in the world, so in order to get far enough in, I was having to get in the water, and then the stupid trailer wasn't cooperating. That ramp, I really don't like that ramp either. They got concrete dividers between the ramp and the um, pier, and so in order to get to it, you had to step on those, and it was a mess. So forgetting the plug was one thing, and then I turned around, and on top of that, I had the boat almost capsized because it got stuck on the trailer. So, Christy, how's it going? I'm guessing Christy is Brap. So, Hey, Brap, how's it going? Fish in Michigan. I had a hook past the barb of my thumb and thigh. Did not feel good yanking. Oof. Yeah, I can't imagine. There's no way it would have felt good. Ah, Kelly, we don't go to the hospital for that stuff. We'd have to stop fishing if we went to the hospital. Yeah, mine is a 12 foot. I thought it was a 10 foot for some reason, but it is a 12 foot. And it had a deck in the back that I actually just ripped out. I don't know if that's, in fact, no, that's not on video because I didn't film that. I'm going to do an update on the boat soon and I'll show that because that deck was, excuse me, the deck was in the way of the battery. I couldn't get the battery into the boat. And then on top of that, it was kind of getting rotten. And so I took that thing out. But I want to put in a new deck of some kind or something. Kelly, you just gotta wait until you get bit by a fish. That's the best. I've had more fish draw blood than anything. I had trying to think what the worst was. I'd say the worst for oh no, I'm sorry. It's not even getting bit by a fish that's the worst. The worst is when you get stung by a catfish. Oh my gosh, especially the saltwater catfish. Oh, it's horrible. Saltwater catfish have venomous spines and they will stab you with them. And they're really good at it, especially the little baby ones. And when they do, it hurts so bad because of the venom. I was in Florida and I was I caught a little baby catfish, probably about that long, and it got me right in the. They always seem to get you in the bed of your nails. Got me in the bed of the nail, and within 30 minutes from there all the way to here was just throbbing because of that venom. Um, I've actually seen people get like they passed out over it. It was so painful. Different species. Christy, yes, fish bite. It depends on which one you're looking at, but trouble hooks catching. Yes, fish in Michigan, they will. I got stung a while back with a 2-inch bullhead. Felt like a bee sting. So I haven't had a bullhead get me yet. I've had channel cat. I think I've had a small blue, gaff top, or sailfin. I always get those two confused. They're not. Ooh, they're not fun. Not fun at all. Bit by a 34-inch pike. Did you have to get stitches for that? That was in my top top five scariest fish in North America. Yeah, nice. Kelly, you do not want to go noodling. Trust me. So, something a lot of people don't know about noodling is, well, first of all, it's dangerous. People have drowned while noodling because you're going after a fish that could potentially be upwards of, you know, 50 pounds. And that fish's goal is not to get caught. And so they will try to pull you into their little hole and they dig really deep holes. And they've had people drown while noodling. The other thing is a lot of noodlers, especially the ones that don't wear arm protection, end up with really, really bad scarring because the fish, the catfish, when they clamp down on your arm, um, they will do a death roll and they don't have teeth, but they have like sandpaper mouth. And so they will literally just scrape the skin all up and you will get a infection that'll scar. So noodling is definitely out. And I wouldn't say, I wouldn't be scared of fishing because in fresh water, there's not too many fish that'll bite you and hurt. A big catfish will hurt just because when they bite, like I said, that sandpaper, and they got a lot of power, so it doesn't feel great, but it's not going to seriously hurt you. Uh, The only ones you got to worry about are like pike or bowfin or something like that. Saltwater, you got to be saltwater. You got to be a little more careful. Fish in Michigan. I have a whole story with that pike. Basically, the stupid thing whipped around and bit itself. So I was like a pike donut. Tried to release it, just sat there and donut. I pried its mouth open and got bit. Oh, I bet you do have a good scar on your hand from that. Pike are, ooh, pike are scary. So if you watch that video, which I really recommend you guys check that video out because it was a very fun video to shoot, and hopefully it's fun to watch. But the the weird thing about pike is out of everything in freshwater, I keep messing this up. Out of everything in freshwater, none of the fish are gonna really hurt you, and none of them are really trying to bite you, except for the pike. Pike will attack people. They've been documented attacking people. Not that they can, eat a person, and I don't think that's their goal anyway, but they're territorial, and especially if they're spawning, they want to protect their nest. So one of the one of the few fish that well, that turned out really wonky. One of the few fish that you actually got to worry about is pike. They will bite you. They're scarier looking fish, but I'd say they're probably the scariest. CK ice fishing? No, I want to though. Ice fishing looks really fun, um, especially since they do it in those little shacks that are heated. Because I don't like being cold. Um, I would really like to try ice fishing. Unfortunately, here in sunny South Carolina, we don't really have enough ice to go ice fishing. So we had one year that it got cold enough that we got ice that we could walk on in certain areas. When I say we could walk on, we weren't supposed to. We did it anyway, but not enough to fish. Jackie, how's it going? Benjamin, how's it going? Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate everybody being on the stream and hanging out with me and chatting with me. Now I gotta find my other hooks again. I keep losing stuff, guys. Ah, there we go. Using these small little bait hooks. I have some more somewhere and I lost them. I think my disorganization is probably like the worst thing about me because I will buy stuff like, oh, I need this, and then I will set it down and lose it. Be sick to Talbot, come to Ohio and you got me. All right, let's do it. I want to do some ice fishing. It would be sick to have a pet pike someday when I have a tank big enough. I'll stick with my largie and small. Dude, you have a pet largie and smallie? I feel like I should know this. I watched your channel. Maybe it was before you got that. Oh no no no! I remember now because you were catching bait to feed your pet largemouth. I didn't know you had both a largemouth and a smallmouth though. That's awesome. That is really cool. I've got all I've got right now for natives is um I've got the green sunfish and I've got least killifish. There you go, Kelly. I just stabbed myself with a hook. I got least killifish at work. Kelly, thanks. Appreciate that. I pick my hook size based on experience and typically, big fish, big hooks, I kind of figure. So I got the hooks from another YouTuber, the recommendation. These are what I use for catfish, and I use a circle hook because when I'm fishing, I like to just set my rig and wait for the fish to bite it. And with these circle hooks, when they bite it, they kind of put everything in their mouth. And the way the hook is, it actually forces itself into the corner of their mouth, and then it sets itself. So um, you don't actually have to set the hook. And then these are actually a little bigger than I want to use, but this is all I could find. But typically I picked this size because honestly, it was trial and error. I was fishing. I couldn't get the fish to stay on the hook. I got frustrated with it, so I kept going smaller and smaller until I got the fish to stick. So that's how I decided on that. Fish 3 times if you're in a shanty and have a heater, it's not that bad. So much gear that you need to catch 3-inch bluegills. I want to I want to go ice fishing because I see them catching the big yellow perch, and that is what I'm after. I want to catch a big yellow perch. One of my favorite fish. They're beautiful fish. They're supposed to be delicious, and they fight like tanks. I mean, I've caught some little ones about that big, and they feel like they're like a whale. You just got the smallmouth a few weeks ago. All he wants is minnows. Yeah, bass are hard. How big was he when you got him? Was he a baby or was he full grown already? Kelly, I knew you were hoping I would do that. Bling hook. I don't know if you can do emotes on here. That's a good question. I'm not sure if you can do that. Kelly, I have definitely been scared of a fish. I am terrified. Listen, guys, this makes no sense here, but I love fishing and I love fish tanks. You can see the big old fish tank behind me. I've always loved it. I am terrified of water that I can't see the bottom. I mean, I've literally stepped in between charging bulldogs and my siblings. I've scared off several, like, just roaming dogs, everything. Nothing on land bothers me. I've caught snakes. Nothing on land bothers me. If I see something in the water or something touches me in the water, I'm gone. I actually left my dad and my sister in the water one time because we were in Florida. We were waiting on the beach and a fin popped up and my dad goes, "Oh, I hope that was a dolphin." And I left him. I left him and my sister to get eaten by the dolphin, shark, whatever it was because screw that. I was not going to get mm-mm, mm-mm. Uh Perch are delicious. PB perch is 12 inches and he tasted good. I bet he was. We get the white perch here, which I think the white perch are good, but they're not I think the yellow perch are probably better. I haven't tried it. I'm trying to keep up with who all is in here. You guys are going fast now. Had the original. Hold on. Since last March when I got him, he was 1.5. He's now 12. The small I got. Wow, you got a smallie at 2 inches. Holy cow. No, dude, that's awesome. I'd love to do a bass one day. They're too big. Too big for the tank I have now. But one day I would like to do one. Do I not have any smaller weights? Jeez. There we go. That's better. YouTube says otherwise. I don't know what you're talking about there. Kelly, yes, being scared of water is universal. I I don't mess with that stuff. In fact, if you watch the video where I'm wading through the river, I enjoyed wading through the river, but I was with somebody, which helps. I tried it again by myself and I was terrified the whole time. But even in that video, if you watch, there's a couple times where I literally jumped over something silly or I just completely wussed out. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, I freaked out because a twig touched my leg. I'm really, really bad about it. So I actually caught a shark one time, and I was a little scared of that too because I was trying to wrestle him up onto the pier and not get bit by him, even though it was a nurse shark. I didn't know if they had teeth. So fish in Michigan, you don't want white perch. They're not bad as far as they're really good bait and they taste really good, but they're very invasive. And if I'm remembering correctly, you guys have a pretty good population of white bass. And if that's the case, you do not want white perch because they will eat all of the white bass eggs and you will not have white bass anymore. We used to have white bass here. Some people released the perch and now we have perch. That's it. So, yeah. Kelly, seaweed freaks me out so bad. I really just don't like it touching me. I got to go to California this year, first time I'd ever been, and while I was there, I got to go in the water, and their water is just infested with seaweed. But the other the kind of cool thing is their water is crystal clear. Um, and so as I was in the water, I actually looked down, and then we were in about 4 foot of water. There was a stingray just gliding along the bottom. It was cool. Rebecca, the nurse shark was my coolest catch. I actually kind of have to agree with that. The I wish I would have been doing YouTube at the time, so I could have got that one on video. We were we were fishing in St. Augustine, and the fishing was not good. I'm not gonna lie, fishing was pretty bad, and we were we were sitting there just kind of letting bait drown. I had a live ballyhoo that I had caught in the cast net, and the current was ripping, and our stuff was all the way off to the side. It was off to the right side, and when we let the bait sit for a while, I went to grab my pole just to check it, and I noticed that my line was all the way to the left. And I asked my buddy, I was like, "Hey, did the current switch on us?" And he looked, and he said, "Maybe." He said, "When you pull that in, you should set the hook." And so I grabbed it, set the hook, and it's, oh yeah, there's a fish there. And then that thing dove, and when he dove, it was like, oh my gosh, it's a big fish. I fought that thing, brought it in. It was a 5 foot long nurse shark. And I tend to agree with Rebecca. I think that was probably the coolest catch I had. What do I got in here? Okay. So I've not. We don't have sea lamprey here. It's weird. I know you guys have them up north for whatever reason. We don't have them, but they are extremely freaky. Um, and as far as stingray, I don't know about that. I've never been stung by one. I've caught a lot of them, and they're actually pretty good eating if you prep them right. And if you're going to eat them, you can cut the barb off, and it makes a cool little keepsake. I've got a barb that, no kidding, it goes all the way across my hand. It's huge. Um, but I don't think they have to pull it all the way through all the time. I think it kind of depends on on the situation. They would have to get pretty deep. But those catfish, man, I've heard of people getting the catfish, they step on it, goes all the way through. That's a bit much. I was what part of I was in Anaheim, California, and then we went to what was the name of the beach we went to? Laguna Beach, maybe. I want to say it was called Laguna Beach. It was really pretty. Got to try tuna fish for the first time. That was kind of cool. I need some more weights. What did I do with my other weights? Nope. Christie's skates are awesome. I love catching skates, but we don't really get those here, unfortunately. We get stingrays. I haven't had any issues with the stingrays. I know some people hate catching them. I personally think they're kind of fun. Let's see what weights we got here. That's a 1 ounce. There we go. Give me some of these 3/4 ounces. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, skates. I caught. I got to catch a skate when I lived in Maryland, and that was super cool. It was really big, but I don't know what part of the country you're in, but in Maryland, right at the Patuxent River, the skates would run certain time of the year, and literally you could stand on this bridge that went over like an inlet and watch, and it was just hundreds of skates coming up and putting their fins up out of the water. Super cool. I've never seen anything like it since, but it was awesome. Um, Fish in Michigan. I've been thinking about getting a bullhead. I just hadn't I hadn't quite given up on the idea of having a planted tank yet, and I was afraid that they would kill all the plants. But since my sunfish keep killing all the plants, tempted to just say forget it and have a bullhead. Chrissy, have you ever seen a sea robin in a fish tank? They are super cool. They're pretty, predatory fish. They're really cool in a fish tank. I saw a guy on YouTube that has one. I don't remember his name. It's been a while since I saw it, and it was super cool. He has a pet sea robin. It's not too hard to unhook a stingray, in my opinion, especially since they don't have teeth. You don't have to worry as much. Obviously, you don't want to stick your fingers in their mouth because they got kind of they eat shellfish, so they got those plates kind of. But they're not hard to unhook. You just flip them over, and you know a lot of people freak out when they catch a stingray. I don't worry about it because I flip them over and step on their tail, and as long as you're stepping on their tail, they can't do anything. So, oh, you got a fish. You're in Florida. What part of Florida are you in? I I could move to Florida, honestly. I love fishing in Florida. Try to get a black bullhead, much more active than my yellow. Okay, I've only ever caught a yellow bullhead, and I only caught one. I had a mad tom, but I'm pretty sure one of my other fish ate him because he was baby, and I probably shouldn't have let him go in the tank yet. But I got impatient and let him go in the tank, and pretty sure he ate. Kelly, I do. So I don't eat a whole lot of fish actually. I talk about it because I've eaten some in the past, and I like eating fish, and I would eat more. Um, so I don't eat a whole lot of fish, but I can't keep anything in my tank that gets too huge. And I do. I try to research before I decide to keep something in a tank. So like the fish that I have in the tank behind me are green sunfish. I know like how big they get. I know that um, they're pretty easy to get to eat regular food because that's the problem. Some fish will not eat anything except for live food, and it's a pain to feed live food all the time. So they're they're nice and easy. But you're in Orlando. You're in a great area. There's plenty of fishing there. You gotta get out and do some fishing. You got the I didn't get to fish it, but when I was in Orlando last time, we drove past I don't remember what body of water it is, but the big bay. And oh my gosh, it is so cool. I would love to I would love to be able to fish that. I think it's a bay, but Kelly, would I ever be a fisherman? I'm assuming you mean commercial fisherman. In that case, probably not. Uh, I like fishing for fun. I would fish to feed my family, and I enjoy seeing what's out there. But I think commercial fishing, one, I don't like some of the methods they use, and two, I'm not. I don't know. I think I'd get bored of that. Plus, I probably wouldn't be a very good commercial fisherman because I don't want to kill all the other bycatch. I'd be constantly trying to save everything out of the net, and I'd be in trouble. I'd be in big trouble. So, fishing Michigan, yes, sunfish are very aggressive. In fact, I've got one in timeout right now because he wouldn't stop killing all of my other fish. So he's in a timeout bucket, and I haven't decided if he's going to get to go back to the tank or if he's going to find a new home because my green sunfish here get along pretty well. So, you know, Tampa Bay with. Oh, yeah, I forgot. It is Tampa Bay. Yeah, Tampa Bay would be an awesome place to fish, at least from what it looks like. But you got a lot of intercoastal waterways there and lots of good places to fish. I'm just I'm labeling these bags with just a Sharpie. I'm just putting on there what's in there and what weight the how many ounces the weight is, just so I can kind of reference that without having to pull it out. Fishing Michigan, I made the logo myself. Initially, my original logo was something made for me by a youth pastor from years ago. He made a logo for me, and then I kind of used that and just added the fishing part originally. And then I decided I wanted to do something a little bit more clear. And so I changed the logo, and I did it myself in Photoshop. And then probably a couple months ago, I decided that the colors all needed to match because the colors weren't matching. So I fixed that, and I've been rocking this one ever since. So, but I did it in Photoshop. I had to learn. I learned Photoshop as a probably early 20s. I actually worked with a my that same youth pastor. He owned a graphic design company, and I worked for him for a little bit doing graphic design and learned some stuff. This is why I was trying to run my own blog as a business and um, do some different things. And so I did that for a while and had to learn. And then I started doing YouTube. I had to learn how to do video editing too. Grass pickerel, yes. I I have heard of them. I want to catch one so bad. They have them around here supposedly, but I have never seen one. Never had anybody come up and tell me that they caught one. So I don't know if they're just really rare in this area or what. I want to catch one so bad and put it in my tank. Christy, the lagoons are gorgeous. I appreciate you guys all being on here and hanging out with me for a little bit. I might try to start doing this once a week. I may have to come up with something else to do other than tying rigs because I'm going to have more rigs than I know what to do with. But, you know, that's better than not having any because typically I'm doing this on the fly while I'm fishing. Fishing Michigan, if you find one, you have to let me know now because now I'm curious. Rebecca, yeah, I was nervous. Never been live before. Kelly, scariest fishing trip. Oh gosh. I'm trying to think which one to even tell. So I've got a buddy, Seth. Um, I'm gonna try to get him to come and I'm gonna try to get him to come on and talk to me one time so that we can share some stories because him and I tend to get into sketchy situations. So most of them are with him, and I don't think I can pick one. So I may have to go over a couple um, stories here, and I can try to show the fish at the end here. I don't know how I'm gonna do that with all the cameras I got set up, but I can try. So scariest fishing trip off the top of my head, the first one that came to mind was I went to Beaufort, South Carolina with Seth, and we were fishing. It had been a kind of rotten trip overall. I think we ended up staying overnight one night, and it was really bad. The fishing was horrible. We didn't catch. I don't think we caught hardly anything the whole time. And so we went out the next morning. The weather was supposed to get really bad. We were supposed to have some really bad storms. So we decided uh, we could probably fish for a while. And well, the storm rolled in faster than we thought it was. It was a it was the blackest, darkest cloud I have ever seen. I mean, this it was rolling in bad, and all of a sudden we just got horrific thunder and lightning, um, pouring down rain. I mean, just it was a full on storm, and we actually moved up to a sheltered area and sat up there through the first wave. We actually caught a fish during the storm, which was funny. Um, after the storm, we went back down onto the floating portion of the dock. So in Beaufort, they have a lot of floating docks. So you'll have like a normal pier, but it'll lead down to a section of the pier that's floating. And because a lot of people shrimp down there. And this particular one also happened to be made out of metal, which is not a good mix. So we go back down there thinking we could fish a little bit for the next round of storms. And all of a sudden, all of a sudden, we're sitting. And I had been, just to clarify, in this case, I was the antagonizer. I kept Seth out there longer than he wanted to be out there. And all of a sudden, lightning strikes. And when I say lightning strikes, it was no kidding. It was less than 150 yards away. And I don't understand exactly what happened here because it's called a salt flat or a salt marsh. And lightning came all the way down to the grass in the salt marsh. I don't know how it didn't hit the pier, which was much taller than the grass, but either way, it was super bright, big bolt of lightning, super close to us. And Seth literally threw his rod at the pier and said he was done. He didn't care if I was done or not. He was going back to the car. And so we packed up and left at that point. It was it was a little scary, but we've also been on some trips where we were scared of getting mugged, jumped. I went one time by myself into a spot that I should not have been by myself, and thankfully nothing bad happened, but I ran into some beavers. And if you've never heard a beaver try to scare somebody away, that is one of the scariest things you'll ever hear. They slap their tail on the water and it sounds like a gunshot. It was getting dark and I knew I was in a kind of a rough area. I got out of there real quick. It was bad. Fish in Michigan, live minnows or inline spinners work well for crest. Anything shiny. Okay. I've got a spot that I really thought I saw one, and I never could confirm that that's what it was. But I think this year I'm going to try to go down there and spend some time um, trying to target that. But we'll see. Kelly got life insurance on him. Beavers are not cute when you're out in the woods by yourself and they're trying to scare you away. This spot was literally, in order to get to this spot, we had to hike at least a quarter mile through the woods, and it's behind a Walmart. Um, and there's a lot of like, I've walked down there and seen some guys like tripping bad. Like it's not a great area. There's a little homeless camp down there and everything. So it's not a good area to begin with. And on top of that, I probably shouldn't say this on the internet, but I was not sure if we were allowed to be there. So when a beaver starts smacking their tail and scaring the heck out of you, it's kind of one of those yeah, it's not real fun. Kelly thinks things are cute until she gets scared by them. I mean, that's all of us, isn't it? Cold water aquatics got grass pickerel and they're awesome. I also got them on frozen tilapia. Dude, uh, if there's a Facebook group, North American Native Fish Keepers, and a guy on there has got his pickerel. I don't remember if it's grass or chain pickerel. No, it was grass pickerel. He's got him trained on pellets, which I thought that was cool. Jackie's Khaleesi. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm not getting the name straight. I'm working on it. I'll get it. Kelly, I'm telling you, you just need to see a beaver up close when you're fishing. It's not so cute anymore. I will say if I could have an animal like that as a pet, um, river otters are super cute and they look like they're really cool pets. They're just like dogs that live in water. They're really cool. Also, beavers get gigantic, so keep that in mind as well. Kelly, yes. Fish in Michigan. The See, I wouldn't. That's the one thing I don't like about my, um, well, other than being a murderous little monster, my red breast will not go on pellets, and it's kind of a pain. So, yeah, I want something that goes on pellets. The guy that switched his pickerel to pellets, he said he did it by starting with earth or red worms, some kind of worm, and he started chopping them up smaller and smaller, and then he switched to, I think he called them fish sticks or something like that, but they're a type of dried bait. And then after that, he switched to pellets, and it worked. So I thought that was pretty cool. Hi.
I'm just here to tell you that Jackie is gonna try to tell you it's Khaleesi, or Jackie's gonna try to tell you it's Jackie, but it's really Khaleesi.
Oh, okay. I'm being told that I gotta get some names right here. Sorry.
Don't let her convince you.
Sorry. Okay. Kelly, I've seen a platypus in videos and pictures, not in person. I would really like to see one day because they're super cool, and they happen to be from the country that I would like to visit the most. But, you know, yeah, river otters are very cute, but I would not, I probably wouldn't swim with them unless they were tame. Yeah, like Fish in Michigan said, they're not something you want to play with. I tell you what, the most random critter that like I'm almost afraid to touch now is starfish. And I know that sounds weird because I've held them in my hand before. They're super cool. But I saw a video of a starfish like ripping open an oyster. And ever since then, I'm like, I don't know if I want to hold a starfish anymore, man. What if they decide that my hand is an oyster? Snapping turtles are vicious too, but they would be a really cool pet. We have snapping turtles here. I've caught one of those, and whew, tell you something, that's a strong animal. I caught a I caught a snapping turtle that I didn't have a scale, and even if I did, I wouldn't have had a way to get it on the scale to weigh it. But that thing was probably 20 or 30 pounds, and I was trying to get the hook out of his mouth, and so I was holding on to his tail while Dad was trying to get the hook out. And I'm not even kidding. This thing was almost pulling me in the water. It felt like trying to hold on to the hitch on a truck. They are so strong. But Vertipeel mix up pellets and choppers and bag, and that gives them Fish in Michigan. I tried that with this red breast, and he just would not. He refuses. Somehow or another, he knows. He'll put a pellet in his mouth and then spit it out. Little turd. I hate to get rid of him because he's such a pretty fish, but he's so mean. What do we got here? Yeah, we need some more 3/4 ounce. He's so mean, and it's just, I don't know. He beats up all my other fish, and my green sunfish are more fun. I can feed them by hand, and they'll actually like eat out of my fingers, or at least they would before they got all beat to heck. Yep, caught a turtle on a live. Yep, that doesn't surprise me. I've caught. I went out fishing with chicken legs and caught some huge soft shell turtles. If I was gonna have a pet turtle, like my pick, any pet turtle, size isn't an issue, nothing like that. It would be a pretty hard decision between a snapping turtle and a soft shell turtle. Soft shell turtles are so cool. They're they get really big. They're just a unique animal. I always liked them. I think that's what I like about fishing the most is you never know what you're gonna catch, and it's I don't know. You can see like all the work God put into making everything so unique and I mean I don't know. Especially saltwater fishing, you never know what you're gonna catch. Christy, yes, it's the little dude with the orange. He is so mean. Just beats everything up. He's already killed one of my other well, he's killed a few other fish. So he's in timeout right now. He's really pretty, but he's just so mean. I'm gonna try to give him another chance, but I don't know. Yeah. Oh, you catch northern sunfish? Dude, that's cool. They are it's almost hard to pick between northern sunfish and um oh, what was the other one? Northern sunfish and long ear sunfish. That's the one. They are they are so hard to pick between them for what's the prettiest North American fish because they're both gorgeous fish. We don't have them here, unfortunately. I have heard soft shells just burrow a lot. Kelly, yes, I have definitely not caught anything. In fact, the video I put up this week, I did try to fish during that video, um, and I didn't catch anything, so I just didn't show it because I had some other stuff to show anyway with the boat and almost sinking it. But yeah, I've had plenty of not catching anything. Oh, you got pet northerns? That's not even cool, man. Don't tell me that. That's it's unfair you have access to those. Those are awesome. Yes, the red breast does like lakes. I've caught one in a lake. The one that I have was caught in a little creek behind my parents' house with my brother. And by little creek, I mean little creek. It was tiny. You never caught one in Lake Only a Creek. Yeah, northerns, that doesn't surprise me. I said, I've caught green sunfish in the lake, but I'll be honest with you, I think they like being in creeks and stuff better than the lake. Christy, he'll get along with catfish as long as they're not big enough to eat him. But he's gonna need a big tank. He's not a he's not a small fish. Fish in Michigan, northerns are probably one of the best sunfish to keep as a pet because of the size and the color. I mean, you can get I hate comfortable. You can get long ear, but they get so gigantic. They're not as good as pets. Plus, long ear are mean fish. They're not to be messed with. Long ear will mess you up. But I will say, if you've ever seen a video of long ear sunfish in a river doing like their spawning dance, oh my gosh, it's so cool. They do like here you got this bright blue and red fish, and they're doing like tornadoes around each other. It's really pretty, really cool. You have a Chrissy, you have a catfish making nest? That's cool. You have to show me that. Kelly, are you saying how tall am I? Or how tall is Christy with her arm sized catfish? Fishing in Michigan is amazing though. In the summer, northern sun is tacked up in the bed in this tiny creek, like 2 inches in the water. Oh, dude, that's the best right there. That's super cool. We did sight fishing for trout one time in a stream. That was phenomenal. It was so fun. Kelly, I have not spearfished. Um, would like to try it. I just have not had a chance to. I don't. I have a little bit of a hard time with the idea just because of my fear of water, but I do want to try it. I just have to find somewhere really clear. And I also would not be able to do it with scuba tank because I am not scuba certified. I want to get scuba certified, but I'm not scuba certified yet. And I'm about 5'9". Christy is normal sized. Christy, what is this catfish? Do you know what species it is? There's I think you said you're in Florida, so I mean it could be. Did you say you were in Florida or was that Khaleesi? I lost track. Uh, but there's a lot of options. Kelly, I really do want to get scuba certified. So if you go to the Atlanta Aquarium, which is the biggest aquarium in the United States, they're one of only like two or three aquariums in the world that have whale sharks. And if you are scuba certified, you can actually pay to scuba dive in the tank. Now, if you're not scuba certified, you can pay to swim in the tank. But if you're scuba certified, you can actually pay to get you can actually pay to get like a tour inside with a scuba tank. Um, but I'm not scuba certified. It's expensive to get scuba certified, so you know she swims with her fin sticking out like a little shark. Do you know what color she is, Christy? That might help. Because in Florida you have the native species of catfish, but then you also got some tropical catfish that people have released. So I'm curious what you got. Fish in Michigan. I want to see that video. If you can't link it here, which I don't know if I could find it anyway, um, then send it to me on Instagram. I want to watch that video. That'd be cool. Dark black or gray, man-made lake. Um, have you seen its tail? Does it have a red tail by chance? That would be a telltale sign right there. Otherwise, it sounds like it could be just like a blue or channel catfish. I find it hard to tell the difference between blue and channel catfish sometimes, but and typically channel catfish to me look more brown, but I know they can be blue or black. All right, we ran out of those hooks, so now we're gonna tie. We're gonna go back to our big ones, and we're gonna tie some. What do I have in here? Oh, I could do some 230. Oh, I got some 50-pound swivels. I didn't know that. I want to save some of those though. Let's do a regular one, then we'll do a 230-pound. Yeah, Christy, try to get a pick. That'd be cool. One of my dreams. So I went to a fish store that had a red tail catfish. It was only about, I don't know, foot and a half long, but you could splash your hand in the water and it would come eat out of your hand. So ever since then, I've had like this dream that one day I'm going to have a pond with a catfish. red tail or otherwise, that would be trained to come eat out of my hand when I splash my hand in the water. Because I always thought it would be so cool to see a 5 foot catfish swim up to eat out of a person's hand. Just thought that was cool. Kelly, coolest lure. I'm not very good at lure fishing. It's something I'm trying to learn. But I would say I'm trying to think. I've got a couple cool. You know what? Actually, I might be able to show you that. I told you my stuff's not organized, so I kind of have stuff behind me right now. All right, I'll show you a couple lures. So this one's kind of cool, but I haven't caught anything with it yet. This one right here is one of my favorites. I think the color is, let's see, I'll do this up here. I think the color on it's really cool, and this twirly tail is awesome. It's a cool action. I have yet to catch one on this, and I think that's part of the reason I like this one so much is it's top water, and I've never caught a fish on a top water lure, but I really want to because it's super cool. I also like the frogs. I had one. I hooked a couple of fish on frog, but again, never got to land one. So more hooks. And then I've got this one that I think is really pretty. Haven't caught anything on it yet, but I think that's just more not having the right spot location. And then this crayfish lure. Ow. Another topwater lure. This right here, though, is a rooster tail. This isn't the color I typically use, but this is probably my second favorite color, and my favorite color being black. These are one of the most like universal baits. Just about anything will eat this. If I'm having like a day where I just cannot catch anything else, I've tried everything else, about ready to give up, I'll tie one of these on and try to catch fish. It's just one of those universal lures that for some reason just always works. So I don't have anything, too super cool. I was gonna show you. I don't know where they are. I had a swim bait that I was gonna show you that I've been using lately that I've had some good success with. But can we see it on the bottom camera? Which one's the bottom camera? Is that this one or this one? Kelly, you don't know what a crayfish is? It's like a lobster but small and lives in fresh water. Fish in Michigan. Oh no. So my biggest largemouth, I have to I have to caveat this by saying I'm not 100% sure that it was a largemouth. It may have also been a spotted because we have a lot of those around here. And it was now I'm gonna lie. What was it? It was either roughly 3.5 or 4.5 pounds, and I can't remember which one. Um, yeah, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 pounds now, but it wasn't that big either way. It's not that big. Inline spinners for trout, rainbow. See, I'm interested in trying some lures for trout because every time I fish for trout, we've used salmon eggs or cheese. That's the only thing we could get them to bite on. So I'm interested to see how to catch them on lures. I recently saw a video, I think it was Milliken Fishing, that was, man, he was catching some monster trout in this tiny, tiny little creek. It was really cool. I mean, it was so tiny, I did not believe any fish that big would actually be in there. Um, yeah, Kelly, crawdad, crayfish, crawdaddies, mud bugs. People got all kinds of names for them. Find my hooks here. I think we're going to tie a couple with some smaller hooks. Use all these big hooks. I need to have some small ones set up if I'm trying to catch slightly smaller fish. So we'll try a few like this. 3 or 4 pounds isn't bad. It was a big fish for me as far as bass go, obviously being PB, but they get so much bigger. I'd really like to catch one a lot bigger, but you know, Kyla, you should go fishing. I think everybody should fish. It's so fun. It's so relaxing. I will sit out on the pier with Ethan a lot of times, and I mean, just for hours and hours and hours, just relaxing, enjoying the weather and in creation, and I love it. I feel closest to God when I'm sitting out on the water. I really do. My bags. Mud bugs, yes. Some people call them mud. I never called them mud bugs, but that's what some people call them. I'll tell you what, crayfish is one of the best baits. I mean, it really is. You guys have largies, smallies, and rock bass. Dude, I don't know if we have rock bass here. Rock bass are cool. I would love to catch rock bass. I've caught largemouth. I'm pretty sure I've caught spotted. And I really don't know what else we have around here. Someone in here earlier was telling me we can catch smallies not far from here, and I'm definitely going to try that because that would be cool. What size is this? 2 ounce. I'm going to have rigs for days, guys. Little man loves to fish. Loves to fish. I'm having a hard time now because it's getting cold, and I don't know what to, I don't know what to do with him because it's kind of cold to be taking him out, but he wants to go fishing still, darn it. Am I out of... Well... Okay, I ran out of this size. That's fine. We'll switch to using these. I'm going to make a couple really crazy rigs. Kelly, yes. I need to show that on a video where I caught these things at. Although now that it's winter, I really don't know that I could catch any more anyway until next summer. But I actually went out and caught them and used them. Rock bass are a nuisance? Man, that's crazy. A lot of people always want to catch those, so I'm surprised. Christy turned the crawfish around. So, all right, here's something crazy. If you guys didn't know this, crayfish, actually, there are terrestrial crayfish that live. When I say on land, I'm using that term loosely because they live in the dirt and they will dig tunnels in your yard. My in-laws, they kind of live in the woods a little bit, and they get these little mud piles, um, sometimes like that tall, in their yard, and it's actually crayfish are in their yard digging digging up their yard and making little underground burrows. It's crazy. And yes, Kelly, I don't feel great about them all the time. If you go watch my video that I did recently, I don't know. I don't want to use this weight. Yeah, I do. Do I want to use the round one or the flat one? I'll use flat. If you go watch the video I did recently, where I was using crawfish as bait, yeah, I'm actually kind of scared of them because they had some gnarly crawls on them. I took the claws off. So, Yeah, bass love them too. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they spit them out until the claws fall off. I can't imagine the claws being like comfortable going down. You catch the same rock bass over and over and over again. Jeez, I don't think many of our fish around here do that. But kind of like you're saying, rock bass are an issue for you guys. White perch are an issue for us. They're only native to like the coastal part of the state, but people have introduced them everywhere, and they actually do make it hard to catch other stuff sometimes because they eat it. Kelly, yes, I brought a whole bucket of them, and some of them were huge. They were big enough to eat. I mean, it was a meal. Go, like I said, go check that video out. The crawfish is in the thumbnail for the video. I caught a big old catfish on it, but yeah, they're not pleasant all the time. I wish I could find somewhere around here that sells them because I would buy crawfish for bait. They're the honestly, crawfish are probably the best bait, live bait that you are gonna find. Everything eats crawfish. I mean, I really don't think. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a single fish that would not eat a crawfish that would fit in its mouth. Now, like I said, if we're talking about a tiny little perch and a crawfish the size of my hand, obviously he's not going to eat it. But if if it's a small crawfish, he'll definitely eat it. Oh yeah, Kelly, people definitely eat them. I'm surprised you never seen that. You see it at Chinese restaurants a lot. They're just like lobsters. They live in fresh water and they're smaller. It's literally just like a lobster. Um, I wish I had one to show you guys. The one that I do have is I don't even know if he's still there. 10-inch rock bass. Wow, that's a big one. That's a really big one. I probably am going to get some crawfish traps. They're legal to use in my state. I just have to put my license number on them, and I think I'm going to do that because yeah, they're amazing bait. Kelly, I can't believe like do you eat lobster or shrimp? They're just like lobster or shrimp. Fish in Michigan. Yep, yep. Bullhead on a live crawfish does not surprise me at all. Not at all. I'll tell you another one. If you guys have ever heard of a mantis shrimp, another fishing trip with Seth, we actually caught a mantis shrimp, and that was cool, and that was extremely tasty. Extremely tasty. I did not mean to make this a 2-ounce weight. Oh well, that's fine. Oh, you don't eat seafood? Man, Rebecca doesn't either. Yeah, I'm gonna find a spot and catch me some crayfish. I'm gonna get a trap. I need to look up like the legal requirements for the trap and all that, and then I'm gonna get one. And I'm gonna take the boat probably and set it. I mean, the boat ramp that I launched at, that's where I caught all the ones last time, and it was just a crazy, crazy, crazy amount of crayfish. It was insane. Punchy boys, yeah, yep. So there's two different kinds of um, dino nuggies. There's two different kinds of mantis shrimp. You've got they call them punchers or stabbers. The punchers have just the big fist and they punch stuff. And if they punch you like in the finger, they will split your finger to the bone and break the bone. They're very, 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 very strong. And then stabbers have like a permanent spear mounted to their hand, and they shoot that spear out and stab stuff. So mantis shrimp can definitely be, um, yeah, they're a little aggressive, but they taste really good. Very good. If humans could punch, that doesn't surprise me, Christy. They they really do punch hard. It's crazy. It's extremely crazy. I Mantis shrimps are cool. A pet store I used to go that used to be here actually had one, and they're awesome. But they're hard to keep in fish tanks even because they punch so hard that they break glass aquariums. Oh, yes, someone already saying that. Yeah, they break glass aquariums. So they're hard to keep as pets because you have to have a big enough tank that they can't break it. You have to have a thick enough tank. Usually people keep them in acrylic tanks for that reason. But they can crack acrylic too. So but there was a guy that he had a fish tank and his fish kept going missing and he couldn't figure out why. And so he set a camera up at night and watched and finally caught. He had a mantis shrimp that had stowed away on some other stuff he bought in his tank. And it was one of the stabbing ones. And it was coming out and spearing his fish at night and dragging it into a cave and eating it. So, kind of cool. Mantis shrimps are cool. We were in we were in St. Augustine fishing, and we were fishing with a guy who has not fished saltwater a lot. And it was again, I mean, it was a better trip, but it was a little bit slow. And all of a sudden, we were sitting there just kind of relaxing, freezing a little bit. And this guy goes, "Guys, there's a lobster in the water over here." And me and Seth kind of just sat there for a minute. And Seth finally goes, "I know it's not a lobster because there's no lobsters here, but I'm curious what you found, and so I'm going to come look at it anyway." And he went over and looked, and sure enough, it was probably a 10-inch mantis shrimp, and we ate that sucker, and it was good. It's really good. This is a male equivalent of making friendship bracelets. There you go. Oh gosh, that's funny. I wish I could learn how to do the paracord bracelets though. Those are cool. I actually had a paracord like key fob at one point. I did tie one time, but it looked like crap. I never learned how to do it. I should though. Caleb, nobody says you can't. What did Caleb say? Michigan, not a whole lot of meat. It was enough for all of us to get a. There was three guys out there, and there was enough meat for each of us to get a taste of it. It was by no means a meal, but honestly, for the 10-inch mantis shrimp would probably have been enough for one person. It probably would have been it probably would have been half to three-quarters of the meat you'd get out of a lobster. So, it wasn't a bad amount of meat, but definitely not a whole lot. Kelly, I watched YouTube videos, and I learned knots from different videos, and not necessarily all for this, but um, knots for other kinds of rigs, and just kind of adapted. The knot I use, I don't know what it's called. It's not a typical knot. It's not actually my favorite knot is the Palomar, however you pronounce that knot. But it's really, 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 really difficult to do that with monofilament line that's this thick. So I had to learn a new knot, and I actually think I'm kind of getting to a point where I don't need any more rigs. Maybe I'll try to tie something different because I've tied a ton of rigs. Just made a DIY fishing rod holder in my car with bungee cords. Did you mount it to the roof? I did a video where I mounted my rods to my roof, or the ceiling, whatever you want to call it. And I I don't know. I didn't use bungee cords, but I'm curious if that's what you're talking about. So maybe you can tell me what this knot is. I'm trying to think if I can even do this where everybody can see it. Let's see. I'll tie one of these. So this is the knot I use. I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna move up to the camera a little bit. So you put your line in and squeeze it. Where's the camera? There we go, like that. And you take this loop, come behind and make a loop. Come behind, make a second loop. I didn't leave myself enough of a tag. Hold on. More tag. All right. Come behind and make a loop. Pinch it. This is why I don't like monofilament line right here. Jumping all in my way. All right, come back, make a second loop. Come back, make a third loop, and then push the tag through the back of the loops, and then pull it tight. If you know what that knot is called, I would love to know because I have not the first clue what that knot is. I just know that it is very strong. I've never had this knot fail on a rig, so that's a good sign. I've had rigs that broke, but never at the knot. Michigan, yes. The rods sit over my head all the time. Remind me when you send me the video on Instagram. I will find that video and send it to you. So I've actually got my rods mounted over. So in the back, I've got like a clothes hanger mounted between the two hooks in the back. And then in the middle, I've got some paracord with a wooden dowel in the middle. And then up front, I've got paracord. And I just put the rods directly on top of all that. Kelly, yes, the fisherman's knot is the first knot I learned how to do. I don't like doing the fisherman's knot because it takes so long to do. But when I'm doing like some of these small rigs with the lighter braid, I actually do revert to the fisherman's knot sometimes. So, because it's definitely easier to use. I'm losing my train of thought. So on this one, we're gonna try to make a. I don't know what this rig is called here, but this is basically the rig I'm tying right here using this three-way swivel, which I don't know that I trust those. The idea with this is you tie your hook to one end and your line attaches to like this end, and then this end you attach. Can you guys even see that hand? Yeah. This end you attach your weight to it, but you attach it with a lighter piece of line. That way when this is sitting out there, if it gets snagged on a rock, it'll actually break the line with the weight and hopefully free your line up to catch your fish. In theory. So I'm gonna make one of these for next time I'm at the dam and fishing from the bank and not the boat. Not the first clue. Punny. So we need to use this lighter line. It's getting out of control, guys. Getting out of control. We gotta tie all this up. Like I said, it's the reason I do not use. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. Making a mess. The reason I do not use mono on my rigs. Gotta head out. Send the northern. Cool, Michigan. I appreciate you hanging out. We'll catch you later. I'm actually about to shut this thing down here soon, but we'll definitely catch you later, hopefully. I'm going to try to do this maybe weekly. Maybe this will be like a little, I don't know, tradition. Hi.
When you're going to end, you just have to hit that button and stream,
Okay.
and it should close everything down.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Don't need me anymore. It's fine.
No, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Becca's telling me how to shut everything down. This is the first time doing this, and I could not have figured it out if it wouldn't have been for her. So greatly appreciate her. Now she's upset that I'm giving her credit. So now she's kicking stuff over, gonna wake the baby up. Uh, Kelly, thanks. I'm glad you like it. I really might try to make this like a weekly thing, almost a podcast of sorts. What size weight do we want to use? Let's use a 2-ounce pyramid sinker. It's a little bit different weight than I've been using. Z does gaming fan. How much do I weigh? I'm fat. So I don't know if I'm going to say that on stream. No. I weigh about probably about 200 right now. Hopefully going to be bringing that down a little bit. Yeah, enough to break the ice. That's for sure. When I said a couple years ago we walked out on the ice, we really shouldn't have done that. That was a bad idea. But it was entertaining, and we knew the water was shallow, so I really will try to do this weekly. That's if you guys really enjoy it, I can try to make this a weekly thing. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these rigs. I'm gonna have to start a little side business selling fishing rigs if I'm tying rigs every time. Because I really don't have a use for this many rigs. It's just an excessive number of rigs. Uh, Kyla, it's okay to wing it. It is good to be somewhat prepared, but I typically wing it. I wing it a lot, and so in a way, this is good because I will have like plenty of rigs, so I can be like prepped. But yeah, in general, I wing it. I catch my own. I catch my own bait most of the time. But what's bad is like when you plan, oh yeah, I'm gonna go out and catch my own bait, and then you go out and don't catch any bait. Makes for a really long fishing trip. So sell them and play country music. Need instructions. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Maybe I will do that then. Because I mean, if I'm doing this weekly, goodness knows I'm gonna have way more rigs than I need. Um, but I haven't really seen anywhere you can buy these already made. Um, Not the way I like them anyway. So the instructions better than IKEA. So I guess I could offer the IKEA rig where I just send you a bag full of all the parts of the rig and you gotta tie it yourself. Uh, that'd be fun. Well, guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing down. I really appreciate everybody watching and chatting with me and interacting. If you guys really do like this, maybe I will try to make this just a once a week thing. Hop on here and do this. But if you guys subscribe and hit the bell icon, it'll give you a notification whenever I post a new video, which I'm also trying to do weekly. Um, be understanding with me that this is a tough time of year to fish, so my videos may not be the most consistent, but you know, uh, Kelly, I have sold on Amazon before, and it is a pain. I don't know if I want to go that way again. That was really rough. Amazon is very, very difficult to work with. But I don't know if someone's interested, maybe I'll try to sell some of these. For right now, I got a bunch for next fishing trip, and maybe I will try to do a live while I'm fishing one time. But my kind of fishing, I usually end up sitting there for a really long time, not catching anything, and then I'll have like one fish, and then I'll sit for a really long time and catch another fish. So it's not necessarily the most like fun live stream thing. But maybe getting out in the boat, maybe I'll find a spot that I can just keep catching them and make a good video out of it. I don't know. That'd be cool. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. I'll probably post this up if you guys want to go back and reference anything in the comments. I don't think we figured out how to get links in there, but make sure you guys subscribe to each other and everything. Check out Fishing and Fishing Michigan. I know he's got some cool videos up. I actually just subscribed to him recently, but I can tell stories. I will run out of stories eventually, guys. Eventually. Although I could go for a while on some of the stories I've had fishing, particularly with Seth. Like I said, I'm gonna have to get Seth on here sometime so you guys can see him and and how we've had some crazy fishing. So we watched Jordan throw the ping pong balls. Yeah, yeah. I don't know though because literally when I'm fishing, I just sit. That's it. I don't do anything. I just sit there and swing typically, but we'll see. Maybe I'll find a good spot that I can do it. I tell you what, I keep saying I'm gonna finish this and then I get squirreled. But I went out fishing, what was it? I want to say it was Tuesday. And this guy he gave me some bait because he was leaving and he gave me the head of a perch. The head of this perch was like that big. That perch must have been at least 2 pounds before he cut it up. And he said he caught it right out there. So I am going to go back out and I'm going to try to catch some perch in that spot because 2 pound perch is insane. It would be really fun to catch, and they're actually really delicious. So yes, that would be fun. Yes, Kelly, I get excited about big fish. Even if they're small big fish, I get excited about them. But I forgot you wanted to see the fish. Let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna try it. All right. Let's see. I don't know what you guys are hearing as I'm rustling this tape around. Okay, get the right direction here. Okay, cool. So they want to be fed. So they want to eat. That's why they're standing there. Maybe. So Rebecca just walked out here. Maybe I'll get her to hold the camera and I'll feed the fish. Hold on.
Did you just show the whole house off?
I don't think so. Come here.
Oh my gosh.
Hold the camera. Keep it on the fish. I'm gonna feed them so everybody can see how crazy these guys are. Now that I've scared them away, it'll take a minute to get them to come back. But once they realize there's food, trust me, they'll be back. Don't tell me this is the one time you guys aren't going to come out for food. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Look at that. Once they get going, they get going. I fed them a little bit earlier, but it shouldn't have been enough that they're not hungry. There you go. I've been, they've been under some forceful darkness because of some algae issues, so they're not as social right now. But
I'm probably making them sick.
I'll try to do some more videos with the fish.
Don't pan back around. Just tell me when to end it, and I'll just.
So, all right, guys, that's gonna be it. Really gonna knock this thing off now, and we'll do another one of these. Maybe I'll try to pick one day or something. I don't know how we're gonna do it yet, but we'll figure it out. So thank you guys. I really appreciate everybody being here for the first stream I've done and interacting with me, and I hope you guys